Hello and welcome to Health Matters on Channels Television. Thanks for staying with us. I am Mary Alale Yusuf. A woman is said to be experiencing menopause when she stops having monthly periods and can no longer get pregnant naturally. This is sometimes associated with unpleasant symptoms. Usually periods come less frequently than they used to, lessening over a period of months or years before they stop altogether. The menopause is part of the natural aging processes in women, usually occurring between the ages of 45 and 55. My guest is a lecturer of obstetrics and gynecology at the College of Medicine, University of Lagos. Dr. Kehinde Okunade is also an honorary consultant of obstetrics and gynecology at the Lagos University Teaching Hospital, a fellow of the National Postgraduate Medical College of Nigeria and the West African College of Surgeons. You are welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Shall we start by, asking, at what time do you say a woman is menopausal, that she has attained menopause? Because I know that a lot of women skip their periods sometimes, some a month or two, and then they come back. So when do you actually say a woman is in menopause?
Okay, thank you for that question. Actually, there is something we call the physiological menopause.
Okay.
And physiological menopause is what every woman is going to undergo in life. And menopause sometimes can also be pathological, meaning that sometimes it can be abnormal. Especially if a woman is experiencing menopause at an age that you are not expecting such woman to experience it. So physiological menopause is actually experienced by women at about the age of 45 years.
Okay, so that's the normal one.
That's the normal one, between the age of 45 to 55, usually, as a range. But if you see a woman that is up to the age of 45, LD, that's not on any form of hormonal drug, hormonal contraceptive, and she stopped menstruating, then the right terminology you can use for such woman is that she had attained menopause. You don't need any other investigation to confirm that that is menopause. However, if you see a woman that is less than the age of 45 and has also stopped menstruating, then, of course, usually that we regard that as early menopause. And for those that experience the same thing before the age of 40 years, we say that is premature menopause.
Before 40?
Yes.
That is really quick.
Yeah. Then that is premature menopause. Usually when there's premature menopause, we usually look for what is causing it. Sometimes it may be constitutional, it may be genetic, probably in the family of such women. Maybe that is what they usually experience. You need to find out. But you cannot say that is normal unless you have investigated and ruled out every other possibility that may be dangerous to such person. More importantly, usually, there's what we call the perimenopause. Aha. Which is what
people talk about that.
Which is what you try to describe at the introduction. Perimenopause is actually the period that the menopause itself. Usually, menopause does not arise suddenly, abruptly. It's usually preceded by a period of irregular menstruation, which may be seen in a woman that usually experiences period every month. They start experiencing the same period every 3 months, sometime every 4 months. It can move up to 5 months, and so on and so forth, until there is a complete cessation. So we are not going to say a woman has attained menopause unless a period has stopped completely for up to 1 year. But those periods that precede the complete stoppage for 1 year is what we regard to as perimenopausal period.
Okay, yeah. So the unpleasant symptoms that people talk about, do they happen at the perimenopause or when menopause has been attained?
Yeah, those unpleasant symptoms, which we call menopausal symptoms, can come up during the perimenopausal period and can also come up during the menopausal.
When she has completely stopped.
But it's usually commoner during the postmenopausal period.
Postmenopausal?
Postmenopausal.
Okay.
But during the perimenopausal, the woman starts experiencing such, but it may not be as intense as what she will experience when menopause has actually arrived completely. And what are these symptoms we are talking about?
Yes.
The commonest one of them is what we call hot flushes. Hot flushes is an intense heat sensation that a woman will feel on the face, neck, and sometimes the chest, and is usually associated with profuse sweating. It can be very unpleasant for a woman, and that is the commonest reason why most women present to our clinic, even though most women try as much as possible, especially in this part of the world, try as much as possible to develop some coping mechanism to menopause. And what we usually tell them is that you do not have to, live with this. You can actually seek help instead of living with a very low quality of life, because it can be very debilitating for somebody to wake up.
What can it do? I mean, it's just temperature.
Yeah, well, that is what you think. Especially if somebody has, is experiencing that, it can be very severe. The person feels that, that somebody is putting fire on their body. So it can be very, very intense.
And some of them try and live with that.
They can't sleep. They can't interact, they can't go to party because they cannot cope. They don't think people will see them as looking normal because they look haggard. It can be very severe.
I think one of the most disturbing things that I've heard from women is when they wake up at night and the sheets are all wet.
Yeah, like I said, hot flushes can be associated sometimes with profuse night sweat. More importantly, there is always a way to treat such. Okay. And before I go on, let me also tell you that there's also some other symptoms, even though what do we call menopause, menopausal hot flashes, is actually the commonest reason why people present. But it can also be some other minor symptoms that can also come up. For instance, a woman experiences insomnia, she's not able to sleep. Sometimes there is also associated loss of memory. Sometimes there is loss of concentration, and sometimes too we can also have some urinary incontinence. When the woman is not able to control her urination, it's also associated with some changes in the cardiovascular system.
Which means there could be a heart problem?
Yeah, there can be heart problem. A woman's risk of having heart problem increases after menopause compared to a man who can have such risk earlier on in life. So, but for a woman, the risk is almost the same after menopause like that of a man.
Can you explain why? I know she's aging quite all right, and that is why these things are happening. Yeah. But what's really happening inside of the woman that is causing all these? Okay,
yeah. Menopause is actually associated with a reduction in ovarian function. Ovary is a very wonderful gland in the body. It's actually responsible for production of those hormones that make a woman feel beautiful both within and outside. And at the same time, the ovary is also the source of the eggs that women, of course, that they produce that result in baby after fertilization by a man's sperm. But these hormones, they make a woman look beautiful. But the moment as you get older, the number of eggs in the woman's ovary starts reducing. Even though they are not in the ovary as egg, they are there as follicles. But follicles is what the shell, the seed that contains the egg. And it's the follicle that produces these hormones. So as a woman grows older, the number of follicles also reduces because every single month that a woman menstruates, she uses up some of these follicles. So at a particular age, when these follicles are down to about 1,000, usually follicular production starts as early as when a woman is still in the womb. And she starts with about 20 million. By the time she gets to about the age of 45 to 55, it has reduced to about 1,000.
And this causes these symptoms?
Yes, and this, there's no more room for hormones to be produced. And when these hormones are not produced, of course, she starts experiencing all these symptoms that we are talking about.
Some women, like you mentioned, use hormonal contraceptives. Now, some of these hormonal contraceptives cause menstruation to cease. Does this affect when the woman will become menopausal?
Yeah, it does, actually.
And does it also affect the symptoms that she will have?
It does, actually. But what it does is that it can cause what we call delayed menopause.
Oh, yeah. So they're actually good for those beautiful womanly appearances?
Oh, well, that remains to be said. But the most important thing is that when a woman takes all these hormones, the primary function of the hormonal contraceptive is that it prevents a woman from ovulating.
That's correct.
And if you don't ovulate, you don't use up your follicles. And like I told you initially, follicles are responsible for the production of these hormones that every woman needs.
So it's just the presence of those follicles that keeps her,
yes,
fresh, so to speak.
The woman, because that is the source of the hormone.
Okay.
So the moment somebody is using hormonal contraceptive, she doesn't ovulate. I mean, there is no follicular usage, so she will not ovulate. So the follicles are preserved for as long as possible. So usually when you see a woman that is over the age of 55 and she's still menstruating, we usually want to find out whether she used hormonal contraceptive at one point or the other.
Okay.
Or sometimes it may just be constitutional because that is what they experience in their family.
In their family.
Yeah, but we always want to find out whether she had used hormonal contraceptive.
You mentioned that it's possible to reduce the effects of some of these unpleasant symptoms like hot flushes and night sweats.
Yeah. Loss
of memory, I hope, too.
Yes.
So what do you do for a woman?
Okay, let me start with the simple ones. Yeah, there are ways you can manage a woman without using drugs, and of course, some of the symptoms require you to use drug. Some of the non-pharmacological method of managing menopause includes what we call the cognitive behavioral therapy. Let me break it down in a layman language. It means such a woman will need to see a psychologist who will tell her some of the ways of coping with this, some of these symptoms. And there are ways that naturally she will not be able to understand that an expert will have to put her through.
You make it sound like it's, a problem of the brain, a mental issue.
No, it's not a problem of the brain. Actually, these hormones work in various parts of the body, various systems of the body. From the central nervous system to the cardiovascular system to the musculoskeletal system and so on and so forth. So there are different ways of managing symptoms that come up in these different areas.
But sometimes she has to be taught how to behave?
How to cope with some of these symptoms.
Okay.
And sometimes too, all that a woman may need is just lifestyle modification. Maybe she just changed her lifestyle. If a woman that is smoking before, we can advise such women to stop smoking. If she takes alcohol, she can be advised to stop taking alcohol. If she takes caffeinated drinks a lot, you have to tell her to reduce that. And sometimes too, there are some plant-based compounds that also contain what look like something that looks similar to estrogen. Estrogen is the hormone we've been talking about. That when a woman takes such, the symptom can also reduce to a BRS minimum. An example of such, plant is soybeans.
Oh, okay.
It can help a lot because it contains what we call isoflavones. Isoflavone is rich, very similar in characteristics and function to estrogen. So it can help. And then, there are also some ways you can also manage this symptom with the use of drugs.
How about just simply fanning yourself or using,
That will only provide what we call a temporary, relief. But like I told you, it can result in severe reduction in the quality of life. So just temporary relief. If you go out,
that won't
you don't want
cut
people to think when everybody's feeling cold, you are feeling hot, it becomes a problem. People start paying attention to you that, what is wrong with this person? So
okay, let's take a quick break. We're taking a really short break. We'll be back after now. Please stay with us. Welcome back. The number to call with any question, and that includes the men, you can ask questions, is 0805-468-3514. That's 0805-468-3514, and you can tweet at CTV_Mary A. Now, some people's symptoms are milder than others. Does everybody need to see a doctor at that time? Can some people just scale through it with, minimal discomfort?
Yeah, majority of women don't go to the hospital because of menopause.
Yeah, that's because a lot of people just decide, I can bear it, I can manage it.
Yeah, some of these symptoms, like I said, there are always some changes that one just need to make to life. Yeah, some of the stressful events, you need to reduce them. And they may not require a woman needing to go to the hospital to seek help. But like I said, some of these symptoms, when they become debilitating, which usually in a very few number of cases, then such women need to go to the hospital.
Let's talk to David from Abuja. Hello, David.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, David. What's your question?
Okay, please, I want to find out, is there any particular age a woman experiences menopause, and is it still possible for her to conceive even after menopause?
Okay. Did you get that?
Yeah, I get
particular
that.
age and ability to conceive after that?
Yeah, usually menopause is attained between the age of 45 to 55. But this age depends on which geographical part of the world one resides in. For instance, in Nigeria, the average age of menopause is about 51. So most women, I think, at least, you see that in about 60 to 70% of women going into menopause at about that period. But what actually causes menopause in the first place is that the ovary has stopped working. And what makes a woman get pregnant is
the working ovaries.
The working ovaries. So if the ovaries have stopped, working, then it's virtually impossible for a woman to get pregnant.
But during the perimenopause, when she sometimes has, a period.
Yeah, we see. Yeah, sometimes it can occur naturally on its own. But at least, like I said, women can get up to the age of 49 before they stop menstruating, sometimes 50. So around that period, there's still that small chance of conception, of getting pregnant. But once she had stopped menstruating for 1 year, which is when we term that as having attained menopause, then, except it's a miracle, pregnancy cannot occur.
Okay, so is it advisable for women? You talked about hormone therapy. Is it advisable? Are there side effects of it later on in life? Yeah.
There are actually side effects especially when you use this hormonal therapy for more than 5 years. We usually like to restrict the use to within 5 years.
Okay, we'll get back to that, but let's take Akim from Ikorodu. Hello, Akim.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Akim. What's your question?
Yes, I just want to know is it good as a husband in the house to be meeting a woman who is in a menopause system?
Excellent, Hakim. I like that question. What do you have to say about it? This is his wife.
Okay.
She's menopausal. Should they still have relations?
Yeah,
Get
of course.
Intimate?
Of course, except, part of what comes up during menopause, and that the sexual desire will reduce, this still as a result of these hormones we are talking about. And even sex sometimes can be difficult for the woman because at that point, there's what we call vaginal dryness. There will be some level of shortness of the vagina, what we call atrophy.
Atrophy.
So that can make sex to be an unpleasant event. But be that as it may, some women still enjoy sex. So there is no restriction to having the sexual
Can doctors
relationship with your
help
spouse.
A woman, to be intimate with her husband without these unpleasant sensations?
Yeah, we do that. Part of what we do is if the problem is just the desire, the cognitive behavioral therapy can help.
Okay, I now
sometimes
see what you're
give
saying.
Hormones too.
Okay.
Because and sometimes we can give what we call, if it is a problem of vaginal dryness, we can give topical hormonal treatment, which means we can get some cream that she can rub into her vagina, and that can make sex,
We were talking about side effects, and you were saying that it's restricted to a period of time.
Yes.
What's this guiding principle?
Yeah, we usually don't want to give this hormone replacement therapy for more than 5 years. usually the symptoms, the menopausal symptoms are usually much more severe within the first 5 to 10 years after menopause. So giving it for over a period of 5 years usually will suffice for most women, and you can stop it.
When does this thing stop? You know, because I was a bit surprised. I thought the perimenopause will be the worst time. Then when a woman attains menopause, she's free. But you said it becomes worse. So when is she free of these unpleasant symptoms?
Yeah, the perimenopausal period, she's still ovulating. It's just that she's not ovulating maximally. So there are still some follicles in the ovary. There are hormones still, but they may not be as much as what it will be when she eventually stops menstruating.
Let's quickly get Aisha from Kogi. Hello, Aisha. Oh, we lost Aisha. So we were talking about how severe. When is she free finally?
Yeah,
of all these
like
symptoms?
I said, yeah, it depends. There is no time period. We only have a range of time.
Okay.
Usually the effect of those the effect on life is usually more severe at about 5 to 10 years after a woman has attained menopause. So after that, usually we don't usually want to give hormone to a woman that is over the age of 60. Because by that time, most will have found a way of coping with the symptoms. The symptom will have disappeared altogether.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah. I mean, it disappears eventually.
5 to 10 years usually is fine. But the hormones, we like giving it just for over a 5 year
period.
Yes, but most women will have stopped, experiencing such. But if they do, there are other ways there are some other, alternative to these hormones that you can give to such women.
We're getting a call from Clarence in Uyu. Hello, Clarence.
Hello.
Hello. What's your question?
Please, good afternoon, ma'am. I want to find something, please. Can a regular menstruation cause a woman to get pregnant?
Can you say that again?
I said, can a regular menstruation cause a woman cause a young girl of 28 years not to get pregnant?
Oh, thank you very much. Irregular periods.
Yes, I'm surprised it's only the men that are calling.
I am surprised myself.
A lot of calls from women.
From women.
But
this is good.
That shows that the men are very caring. Irregular menstruation can prevent a woman from, because what that tells us that the ovary is not working. Because when a woman is menstruating regularly, it shows that her ovaries are working optimally.
Okay.
In short, the first evidence that a woman is not ovulating is that she's not seeing period regularly. So that can prevent her from getting pregnant. I would suggest...
But they do have treatments for that, right?
Yeah, they have, of course. I would suggest that he advised the person to see a gynecologist, and there are different ways. We can find out what the problems are and give appropriate treatment.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for coming on the show. That has been so nice. And I know that you had a procedure this morning, but you still made it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. And thank you there at home, David, Akeem, Clarence, my heroes, men who called in, and Aisha, who tried, and everybody else at home. Have a wonderful day. I'm Mary Alale Yusuf.